There is no better feeling than winning a championship as an athlete. It doesn't matter what level it's at, there's just something special about climbing the mountain and planting your flag atop it as the undisputed winner. I mean, there's a reason that despite having millions of dollars and more often than not, living what many consider to be a dream life, professional athletes still work their tails off day in and day out, and often end up signing deals for less money to play for a contending team. Because at the end of the day, they just want to win a ship. And in all professional sports, there may be no sweeter victory than the Super Bowl. Between the build-up, the popularity of the sport, the winner-take-all aspect of the NFL playoff format, and having by far the coolest championship game name in all of sports, being a Super Bowl champ seems like it has to take the cake. I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but if there's one sport I'd want to ring in the most, it is definitely football. Just picture it, the confetti pouring down on the field, and of course, proceeding to party in whatever warm weather city the NFL has chosen to host the big game for that year. Pretty damn good. There's one piece of the Super Bowl celebration that often gets overlooked, but the players and fans alike love: the gear. You know, the championship shirts and hats that feature the team's logo and the Super Bowl branding. The NFL goes to great lengths to ensure that the gear is properly developed and positioned, so that when the final whistle blows and the eventual winners begin to celebrate, they can get them strapped with the official merchandise as soon as possible. Far be it for the NFL to miss out on any branding opportunities in the post-game photo ops. Anyway, as with everything in and around professional football, the Super Bowl is a business, and a massive one at that. One with an intricate operation system that supports it to ensure that they have all of the merchandise produced beforehand, which means they need to have versions printed for both Super Bowl teams. Obviously, the NFL doesn't want the losing team Super Bowl winning merchandise out there to the masses, so just like with the production, there is a process around the distribution of both versions of the gear. There has to be. The merchandise from championship games has proven to be too valuable both to the players, the fans, and the league. This rings especially true when a franchise posts a momentous victory with historical significance. Let's cross over sports for a second to baseball, which recently saw the Chicago Cubs win their first World Series in over 108 years in 2016. And the fans spent over $70 million on merchandise in the first 24 hours following the big win. The same phenomenon happens in football. So let's look at how the NFL orchestrates the distribution of the Super Bowl merchandise, and of course how they rid themselves of the losing team's gear. At the big game, ensuring that both teams' merchandise is ready to go is the priority. So the NFL officials responsible for post-game distribution bring both sets of t-shirts and caps down to the field after halftime. Usually the result of the game is far from a foregone conclusion at this point, so both bags are held by separate individuals for organizational purposes. And as the game progresses, an expected outcome starts to become clear. The team that's expected to lose has a celebratory merch stashed under the referee's replay booth. While this can be a seamless transition, a challenge can arise when there is a back-and-forth game that goes down to the wire, like in the finish of Super Bowl 42 between the previously undefeated New England Patriots and the heavy underdog New York Giants. Super Bowl 42 gave the staff fits, as it was a particularly tough one to predict.
Who will get to wear the t-shirt is still in doubt. NFL official Dennis Kaiser decided to carry both sets of t-shirts and caps down to the field.
The 12-point favorite New England Patriots held a lead for most of the game, but the Giants, thanks to their ferocious defense, were able to keep it a close, low-scoring affair. Heading into halftime, only 10 total points were scored, and the Pats were up 7-3. The third quarter was much of the same. Both defenses continued to thrive, and neither unit surrendered a single score. But at the beginning of the fourth quarter, the league's officials in charge of the merchandise distribution were anxiously awaiting some offensive action that would give some indication as to which way the game was going. You know, getting all the right folks in the right positions and whatnot. And in a perfect world, they would have gotten exactly that. But obviously, this world is far from perfect, and what ensued was one of the most chaotic closes to a Super Bowl in recent memory. The fourth quarter kicked off with a quick 3-yard touchdown pass from Eli to a scarcely known tight end at the time, David Tyree, giving the Giants a 10-7 lead, which they would hold for the majority of the quarter. The staffers positioned with Patriots championship merch were sent scrambling, and they had to switch out their bags out beneath the replay booth with the Giant stuff. That was until Tom Terrific led the Pats down the field, capping off the drive with a 6-yard touchdown pass to fellow future Hall of Famer Randy Moss.
Now, with the Patriots up, the 19-0 caps and t-shirts are ready to go, and the Giants gear is out of the way, stashed in the referee's replay booth,
giving New England a 14-10 lead with just 2 minutes and 39 seconds left on the clock. which again sent the NFL's crew into a tizzy as they had to undo their previous adjustment and again prepare for a Patriots victory. At this point, one of them probably stopped to catch their breath and relaxed for a moment, thinking, okay, good. This is the Patriots game. It has been their season. And besides, there has never been 3 lead changes in the fourth quarter of a Super Bowl before. Surely our work here is done, right? Wrong. Eli Manning and the Giants offense spit in the face of history and charged 83 yards downfield, aided by another key play by Tyree in the form of his now infamous helmet catch.
Tyree who makes the catch!
We immediately turned and sprint to put away the New England hat because at that point, you just had the sense that the Giants were going to score.
Dramatic play after dramatic play, and finally with just 35 seconds left on the clock, Eli connected with Plaxico Burress in the end zone. And just like that, the Patriots' dream of the perfect 19-0 season came crumbling down, and once again the NFL's ops team had to scramble. But alas, they are professionals, and just like the Giants, they got the job done, and New York's players were all strapped in championship hats and t-shirts as soon as the confetti started to fall.
The madhouse has begun. At last, the hats and t-shirts are out on the winners.
The Giants are the Super Bowl champs.
As for all of the Patriots' 19-0 championship t-shirts and caps, well, that is another story. And of course, the NFL had a plan for that too, a socially conscious philanthropic plan too. The NFL has had a partnership with 2 charities, both of which most of the other professional sports leagues work with as well. World Vision, a Pittsburgh charity that distributes clothes to people in need in third world countries, and Good 360, a not-for-profit organization that donates clothing and other goods to families and communities impacted by natural disasters and other challenging situations. Both entities have had similar missions to provide clothing for those in need, but they find their recipients in slightly different ways. World Vision rotates the country it gives every year, but it is always a deserving third world country that greatly appreciates the help. Good 360, who entered the fold with the NFL in 2015, seeks out communities that were impacted by natural disasters and looks for the areas that are in most need of a little help. It's a shame that there are still so many countries and communities out there that are in such dire need of help, but at least it's nice to see the NFL doing some good in the world here.
In 2007, countries like Zambia received some $2.5 million in licensed Chicago Super Bowl gear.
We could go on and on about social responsibility and philanthropy, but let's take a little detour to something a little bit more lighthearted.
This is the one place in the world where the Patriots will have that perfect season, where people will enjoy the Patriots as the perfect team.
Keep in mind, the recipients of these programs don't have the technological infrastructure that we all take for granted, so it's very rare that they have access to the actual results of the game, let alone the chance to watch it, meaning that in these distant corners of the world, these folks have all witnessed a drastically different NFL story. For example, there's 2016 when former #1 overall pick Cam Newton capped off his epic MVP season with a pounding of the aging Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos in Super Bowl 50. There were no rumblings of a spoiled superstar unwilling to face the media after his 15-1 Panthers buckled in the championship. Shoot, depending on how much the people donning Carolina's championship gear actually know about the NFL, some of them might live the rest of their lives thinking that Eli had his 2 Super Bowl rings definitely made him the better Manning brother. I mean, after all, even in third world countries, rings talk, right? Or Eli might be an afterthought in their NFL story. They might believe wholeheartedly that the New England Patriots were the only team to complete an undefeated 16-game regular season and take home the Lombardi Trophy, although this version of history was not quite as kind to the 2017 iteration of the Patriots, whose legendary 28-3 comeback never actually happened. Imagine that, a completely different world deprived of the internet's crown jewel of memes, the infamous 28-3 lead, only rivaled by the Warriors blowing a 3-1 lead, of course. Anyways, following the most recent Super Bowl between the San Francisco 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs, there was a very similar fight to the final whistle, just like between the Pats and Giants back in 2007. So again, there was a fair amount of switching bags and whatnot, but afterwards, something out of the ordinary happened with the losing San Francisco 49ers stuff. While most of the official NFL merch did get sent out to communities in need, there was one corporate partner who went a little rogue. A Target in the San Francisco 49ers area drew the attention and the ire of Alex Tran, a social media manager that covers the Niners, because they decided to continue with the sale of commemorative 49ers Super Bowl 54 championship posters. Tran took his frustrations to Twitter in a rather succinct fashion with a 2-word tweet that read, "Damn it, Target." Tran might not have thought much of the tweet when he put it up, but it ended up garnering a fair amount of attention from a wide variety of football fans. There were some disgruntled 49ers fans who used it as an opportunity to claim that their football team was in fact the real champions, as they were apparently slighted by the refs or something. I don't know what game these guys were watching, but I guess they are entitled to their terrible opinions. And of course, there was a subsequent response from the fans who felt they needed to get a couple of jabs back. Then there were the more measured fans who lamented the poster's existence, citing the severe emotional triggering that it incited. Some commenters just took the opportunity to get off a few jokes, some much more original than others. While I definitely wasn't expecting to stumble upon a Dewey Defeats Truman reference in the mentions of the SB Nation 49er social media managers mentions today, I can't say I'm mad about it. That is just good old fun. Anyways, this post also encouraged some Niners fan around the country who for whatever reason wanted their own copy of the posters. It is interesting that Target was able to slide by this one. The NFL is usually so on top of ensuring that the incorrect merchandise never sees the light of day, in this part of the world at least. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to do that by hitting the like button down below. If you like the video, then like the video, we'd really appreciate it. And last but not least, don't forget to tune in to TPS every single day for more cool videos. We'll see you next time.